Tonight, the fortress is breached. The fortress of identity. A toast. Success. Immortality. Oh. There you are. You've drunk it all down like a brave fellow. Drunk it all down to the last green, watery drop. And what do you see?
See? Nothing. Emptiness.
No, look. A space that is sown with rotating islands, suns and worlds, and the shards and wrecks of systems. Some like the sun, still blazing, some rotting.
Rotting? Rotting like the earth.
Ah, you read my mind.
My mind. A voice in my mind.
Clever man.
Man. A disease of the agglutinated dust. Feeding, growing, killing.
A top fit of delirium. The scream of birthing. Men through women bring forth only small, deficient copies of themselves. The slime of the pit given crying voice, fitted with eyes that will one day move and glitter in their faces to set their own mother screaming, imperfect, compound, limping. But you are pure. You are an angel come forth.
And what do you call yourself? Tell me. Who are you?
Do try not to spill anything essential.
You're nothing. A voice in my head.
My. You are something new. Indescribably new. And isn't the novelty sweet? Aye, just a young thing, eh? Young, light and happy in body. Rare indeed. Why do you search your pockets?
The key. The key. He put it in one of these, I'm sure he did.
Your imagination, I see, runs like a mill race. It braces and delights like wine. Stretch out your hands. Exult.
Oh, one tuta here.
You sense the night outside. You hear it, quiet but whispering, like a wood for hunting in. You smell it, cold but rich as dung and blood. You want to see it, star and lamp lit. Snuffle in it, wallow in it, clutch it till it squeals.
Aye.
But not yet. Not tonight.
Wait.
Soon.
Better be.
Promise.
Promise what?
A young thing. Barefoot. Oh, yes. Street lamps and constellations will look down on you with wonder. But now you must drink the other. You must hide in Jekyll again. This is his first success. You surely wouldn't want to spoil it for him. Come along. You needn't look so greedily at the door. Take your medicine like a good boy. I see you smile at that. Good. But you must drink it. You may be an unprecedented angel, but you're no fool. Drink it. That's it. You should have a mirror in here. This is well worth seeing.
Well, now, Paul, is this not a fine morning?
It's keen but fair, sir.
Fair and keen indeed it is. A beautiful morning, Lizzie.
Aye, sir. It's grand.
Grand October morning. Leaves in all their glory. And this breakfast smells glorious too.
It's just the usual, sir.
Nothing is as usual on a morning like this. All is new and full of promise.
Aye, sir. And the eggs are fresh in an hour ago for Echo Bank.
There's very little post here, Dr. Jekyll. Most of it, I think, can wait for the secretary.
You recognise all the hands?
They're all familiar.
So you advise me to enjoy Elizabeth's breakfast without troubling myself?
I think it would be safe.
Good. And what do you advise for the rest of the day?
You have to put in an hour at the infirmary from 11. At 2, there's a meeting with the chief medical officer.
Who no doubt will speak of little but smallpox, of which I haven't seen one case in 2 years. An obsessive little man. You wouldn't take to him, Miss Anderson.
I met him here once, sir. He had the cheek to examine my fingernails.
You have duties in the kitchen, have you no?
Right, Mr. Poole.
Tonight we have the gathering of the 3 aged cronies.
Aye, sir.
Jekyll, Lanyon and Utterson.
Aye.
Utterson, I think, is bringing along a young cousin of his.
To the Houkland Tavern.
You disapprove?
Well, it's a take less than respectable. That's what?
The upper rooms aren't so bad. 3 old venerables like us will be safe enough. And this young kinsman of Utterson's, he should see more of the town than College and Princess Street.
As you say, sir. I'll leave you to...
Paul, I want you to make a purchase for me today.
Aye?
A cheval glass, a tall one, and have it put into the laboratory. Not vanity, Paul. Science. Reflection of light, the lateral inversion of virtual images, all that.
Along the lines of Newtonian optics, that'll be.
Quite so.
I'll see to it, sir.
And still there are children going barefoot in the streets of this city.
Aye, rickety, ill-bred brats, Utterson.
To look over the South Bridge into the Cowgate Lanyon is to view one rank of society from another in a moment.
I saw one myself this morning.
One what, Richard?
A young girl with no shoes. Before dawn, frost on the ground. She was running full pelt along an empty street.
On some desperate errand or other.
Running from some crime, more likely.
I feel as if I've arrived in 2 cities at once. New Town and Old One, all elegance and order. The other...
Squalor and disease.
Yes, that may be, but it is a marvellous fatality too, Lanyon. A profusion of eccentricities.
If you call it eccentric, you have 500 people to the acre, Jekyll.
2 score families in one building. Vital indeed.
Smoky 10-storey beehives.
That's good.
Don't heed Jekyll's fatuous poetics, Mr. Enfield. These tenements are not picturesque.
They're a disgrace.
Well, certainly they're dangerous. Dung heaps that breed stunted children who grow into malformed adults, some positively monstrous.
Oh, too strong, Lanyon, surely.
I've had one prodigious specimen in my surgery the last week or 2. You should meet him. My man of voices.
Voices? You mean he hears a voice in his head?
No. He speaks in various voices, uncontrollably.
In other tongues, as the spirit gives him utterance.
Jekyll, my foul-mouthed, slavering patient is no Pentecostal prophet. He's a neurological cripple. His ravings are the symptom of an impaired and malfunctioning brain.
The result, no doubt, of childhood starvation and disease.
What does he say in these voices of his?
Well, he may be attempting to describe in his usual witless and inarticulate manner his lethargy and his sere heeds, when suddenly he'll produce an aria of dazzling obscenity.
Always indecency.
When meaningful at all.
And you suggest his voice is what? Other than his own?
It's more forceful, more bold, a kind of gross eloquence.
Might it not be an outburst of anguish?
Oh, dear. In your vocabulary, Jekyll, the epithet anguished invariably precedes the noun soul.
When does that concept barred from your narrow materialism?
I see your interest still leans to what you call the mystic.
No. The transcendent.
And what I call unscientific havers.
There is a part of your patient's psyche that craves expression.
For heaven's sake, Jekyll, his problem is an organic dysfunction, not spiritual unfulfillment.
Even so, if that, call it dysfunction, if it could be separated, released, allowed within limits its own expression...
The aim must surely be a sustainable harmony, not further discord, more extreme division.
You are witnessing, Richard, one of the legendary and unmissable attractions of your new city. The doctors Lanyon and Jekyll in passionate dispute.
Your aged cousin, Mr. Enfield, is a man of no scientific passion.
Unless conveyancing can be termed a science.
And you're dining, do you realise, in one of Edinburgh's legendary and unmissable venues?
Yes, Jekyll. Why on earth bring us here? The Houkland, of all places.
Seems decent enough, and the food was excellent.
It might not help your digestion to know what lies below us.
Below?
This story is for gentlemen like us.
When such gentlemen feel mischievous.
The next 2 levels down are made up of rooms to let.
Stables, more like.
Under them are kitchens and storehouses, which lie atop another public house.
Most definitely not for gentlemen.
Under that, a washhouse and a byre.
A buyer, but we entered here from the street.
There's a lower street behind us, if you follow me.
And then the foundation of all, the basement rooms, where, it is said, anything you desire may be brought to you.
If your desires are sufficiently corrupt.
Gentlemen, my cousin is here to study medicine, not to explore dens.
How is the word, Utterson? When did you arrive, Mr. Enfield?
Less than a fortnight ago. So far, I've seen little but college and Princess Street.
That mile of commercial palaces.
Like a mile of smiling saleswomen.
And Richard has his first day in the surgical theatre tomorrow. We must let him get his rest.
Yes, the theatre. There you must explore in the network of veins and arteries and the folds and traceries of the human brain. Don't wander off into Jekyll's transcendental fallacies. I think our dusty but lovable old Utterson is anxious about his young cousin's virtue.
Yes. No doubt remembers his own youth in this town.
Oh, ours, more like. Fears we may corrupt him. Unfortunately, my thrombotic old heart isn't fit for delinquency. What is it?
It's Enfield's story about the girl running barefoot. It reminded me. When I was a boy, I was cornered one day by a gang of street children, all without shoes, all pointing at the fine leather on my feet. I stole them.
Stole your shoes?
Boots. High, long-laced, gleaming boots. I ran home wailing to my father.
One of the best men ever to breathe, your father.
Yes. He had all Utterson's compassion, all your cleverness. And I wanted him to have the skin whipped from those thieving brats.
Then transported in chains.
In fact, I wanted them hanged. But I knew that was too severe.
And your father talked to you of their poverty, their ignorance, their understandable resentment of you.
Of course. And we must work towards a time when there'd be no such ignorance, no such poverty.
And no bright sons of respectable fathers left bootless and wailing by a revolution.
Quite so. I'll leave you here, Lanyon. Take this way.
What, down there?
Yes, I have a call to make before home.
This time... right. Good to see you again, Chico. Much enjoyed routing you in argument.
Good night, Lanyon.
Good night.
You're good to your Mary, sir. A good, kind, big gentleman, so you are.
And you to me.
I could be kinder yet.
No.
No, want to come inside? No. Right inside.
No.
Got a room on my own, nice and cosy. Eh? Lie down nice and cosy. And out the cold. Out the road of nosy folk.
No, this is fine.
Right inside, out the cold. No cost you much more what you give me already. And I'm clean. Clean and cosy. Honest to God. All right. You got your Mary's horns, eh?
Slender.
And clever, eh? Clever horns your Mary's got. I get. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. That's
good. Dr. Henry Jekyll, MD, FRCSE, LRCPE, etc., etc. A large, well-made, smooth-faced man of 50. The very pink of the proprieties, whose life has been 9/10 one of effort, virtue, and control. Now gone soft and damp at the hands of Dante Mary.
What are you?
Look back at the old town.
An organic dysfunction.
Look back from the new elegance of Waverley Bridge, the span that joins two worlds. Here, where you've often doffed your hat to gliding ladies. See how the old high street so callously shows its back garrets to your limp respectability. The building's so packed together, hard to say where one ends and another begins. But that tall one, there, crammed from chimney to cellar with the unwashed rabble. Only 3 lights burning now. In one room, a birth. In another, a death. In the one between, a sordid gin session. In all the others, they snore and rut.
Enough. Talking to myself.
Think of so many twining bodies, like mixter playthings, and the trifling walls that contain them.
Who are you? Myself talking to me?
Go home. We'll talk more there.
You are not madness. I am not insane.
No. No lunatic could develop a theory like yours.
But you are organic, perhaps, as Lanyon said.
A result of all the drugs, you mean?
Yes. So many failed attempts.
But now success. Explain it again, your theory. The agonized womb of...
Consciousness. It is the curse of mankind that in the agonized womb of consciousness...
Lovely phrase.
These polar twins are in constant struggle.
Name the twins.
Good and evil, if you like.
Rather crude, no?
Man is not truly one, but truly two.
Only two?
Two natures contend in him. And even if he can't rightly be said to be either, it is only because he is radically both.
Complicated bit there.
And if these two elements can be separated, each housed in separated identities...
Brilliant. The unjust may go his ghastly way, delivered from
aspiration and remorse. And the just may walk steadfastly and securely on his upward path.
doing the good things in which he finds his pleasure.
Yes.
Genius. You can plod along in the public eye, the imperious but beneficent doctor, while Edward Hyde, with miraculous immunity, can plunge into...
Edward Hyde?
I suggest we christen him that. Jekyll's of Scandinavian origin, as you know. So is Hyde. They're both on the same page of that old book of surnames. Don't you remember reading it? Hyde means haven, the other icicle. And, of course, alphabetically speaking, between H and J comes...
Aye.
You. And when Hyde returns from his nocturnal mischief, he need only swallow your potion and he'll pass away like the stain of breath upon a mirror. Which I see Poole has bought and placed here at the ready. Trusty old Poole. You'll like what you see in that glass. You'll feel a leap of welcome. Promise?
And who makes that promise?
You must make up your own mind on that. Now, you have all the ingredients?
I'll have the heat after you.
I
can't there. It's not the height at top. I've had it all.
They did it.
Busted looking wee buckle.
What's that grin wiped off his face?
I know the false shullers.
That gentleman there.
What about him?
Will you help me out here, sir?
Help you?
Aye.
I don't know what's going on.
He was after my lassie here.
She looks calm enough.
Had her by the wrist and pulling at her.
7-year-old.
7?
Oh, she looks all her, but she's just coming up and
Had her by the wrist and was all set to haul her away.
But why would he do that?
No two. She just go to my road. I'll pay for this.
Oh, too right you will.
Hold on now. There may be a misunderstanding
I'll
here.
pay money, get money to put right this eccentric mix-up.
Eccentric? He's a matty.
I swear, sir. I swear to you, they don't know about writing this.
Well, then you'll have to explain more convincingly.
Please, it's just to pay them. Trust me.
How much?
How much would you like?
Eh?
I have no cash on me. Nowhere to fetch it for. It'll have to be a cheque.
A cheque?
Oh, make it out of this, gentleman. See, you can cash it and pay the lot of you. Would you do that for me, sir? Would you do that?
Well, Oh, but the banks are closed.
Then I'll stay with you till the banks are open.
What do you mean? All night?
All night. Promise.
Don't you want to sleep?
Huh? No me. No me. A night time, believe me. It's not too cosy in here.
Students' lodging. Can't always afford
There's
the...
you sweating like a runner. I'll sleep yourself if you like. I'll not disappear before the morning.
What will you do then?
Huh?
In the morning?
Go to the bank with you.
And cash a cheque for £100?
Guaranteed.
100? It's absurd.
You're right. Too much for these scum. I'll put a lot into your trusty horn. You get them what you think they deserve and hold on to the rest. Keep me in cold for a while.
They wanted to kill you.
But they did.
They wanted to.
I have that affected folk. Which is a shame, because I'm gregarious in myself.
Gregarious?
Anyway, I'm up with words like that. Huh? So I've got an education at my disposal. Maybe not my own, but I can dip in there when I like. And a bank account. Not the harpies and gutter dogs that had me cornered.
They were protecting their child, or thought they were.
Right. They're a shelter to me.
You detest them so
Of
much.
course I do. So do you.
No. There might not be much to admire there. That squalor and disease. But I don't feel that...
Savage content? Well, that day.
I'm tired. This doesn't feel like real life.
But it is. And just because you saw fit to take your gentlemanly stroll down their clary alleys doesn't mean you see them as Merlin vermin. Like the morn. You were leaning for it in the surgical theatre to get a good view of the arteries and veins cut loose, or the tricky flaps of a brain unfolded. Curiosity. You're a curious young man.
And what are you?
Edward Hyde. New man about town.
Who goes in a cellar door after midnight and comes out with a cheque for £100. Another man's cheque.
Do you know the man?
I know his name.
And his reputation?
Yes.
Oh dear. You'll not be happy, the good doctor. What mischief have I done? What can I do to keep you quiet? Buy you a barefoot lassie.
What?
Oh, but we'd rather have a boy.
Christ!
Doing a blow in the Outland Tavern. Get you anything there a curious lad desires.
You're...
Damnable, I ken. I'm a damnable man. And you want to kill me, don't you? You simply want to hurt me. I'm after a squeal. Come on then, take my hand, bonny lad, take it. Lace your fingers into mine. You're smooth to my hairy. Come on, I dare you. Come on and bend it back. Bend my fingers back till I squeal like a pig. I'll not resist. Unless you want me to.
Get out of here.
Just as you like. Good night to you. Hope your business goes well at the bank. Maybe run into you again at the Hoogland.
What kind of man are you?
Like nae other. Nae other on earth.
Now, to obtain this remarkable cheque, well after midnight, let us remember, the man entered what Richard here has described as a cellar, and what I have since ascertained as a small wooden door with neither bell nor knocker, in a sunless and apparently neglected side alley not 60 yards from here.
I know the door, Utterson.
You know, then, that he might walk from there along a short corridor into a laboratory, then down a flight of steps into what was once a dissecting room and is now what?
A storeroom.
From there, he could cross a walled back garden, enter a kitchen door, and by way of another corridor and a hallway join us here in your library.
No, he has never been in this room.
But he has been in the house.
Yes.
In fact, he has a key, or did have.
There is no
on the
need
night
for
in
this
question.
pedantic legal approach. I am acquainted with the man, as you well know.
And is this acquaintance by preference or bondage?
I can be rid of him any moment I choose.
But you do not so choose.
I have an interest in him, a great interest.
So it would seem. You hand over £100 cheques to him in the middle of the night. But let's be sure we all three are talking about the same man. Can you describe him, Richard?
In one word, detestable.
What age?
About 30. Older, perhaps. That's the thing about him. He's hard to pin down.
How tall?
Not tall. But then sometimes I thought he was, deformed.
No.
Somewhere. That may have made him
no,
look shorter.
there is no deformity. And that's enough of this cross-examination. The young man Richard met and to whom I gave the cheque and who has a key to my laboratory is the same Edward Hyde named in my will.
Your will?
Yes, Richard. Dr. Jekyll, a few days ago, entrusted me with his new will.
And Hyde is named in it?
As my friend and benefactor and sole heir to my estate.
What? But
He's detestable, you said, so why spend hours in his company?
And more. In the case of Dr. Jekyll's disappearance for any period exceeding 3 calendar months, Hyde is to become master of this house.
Master?
I admit you're unfortunate to have me as a client, Utterson. My case is strange, very strange, but it cannot be mended by courtroom analysis.
Your case may be strange. Your will is certainly inoperable.
Why?
Probate cannot be allowed to issue for a period of years without strong evidence in support of the assumption.
All right, let's leave it at that. I ask you to help him all you can. If I'm not here, that is all. Just do what you can for pity's sake.
Why did you stay with him so long, Richard?
I told you. For the girl. Her family. And then the doctor's name on the cheque. I thought I might draw him out.
The behaviour of a dim-witted juvenile. Your mother has charged me with your welfare in mind. And why wait 4 days before telling me?
Because after those hours with him, I wanted to forget it.
But you couldn't.
No. I dream about it every night. And then when I read about that boy, attacked, savaged, only streets away from me...
You suspected Hyde.
Such attacks are not uncommon in those areas. And I still can't understand why you were in such a place.
I was just walking, getting to know the town. I went astray. You turn one corner here and go from splendour to medieval slums. I dream about that too, over and over.
I suggest we end this discussion now.
Indeed.
We are all three overly impassioned.
Yes, my old friend, you're so passionate your toes are almost tapping. Come along. Let's relieve our intensity with a glass of wine. I wonder if that rascal Hyde causing dissension among my friends. I'll tell him that next time I see him. if I ever do again. And young Richard there will concentrate on his studies, perhaps buy a map of this labyrinthine city so he can avoid those treacherous corners.
So, he has nightmares, has he, the bonny laddie? Bad dreams about that damnable man. What can Hyde have thought he was up to, leading the poor pup here? The teasing rascal. Not entirely unlike yourself, the industrious Dr. Jekyll, whose aspirations are so exacting. You are merrily disposed at times, prone to a too impatient gaiety. And now here's Utterson, the lean and quibbling advocate. Lawyers and divines, they'd reduce life to the dimensions of a funeral procession. But Hyde now, I have to admit he has appetite for life. And confess, when he's made flesh, unbridled, are you not conscious of a more generous tide of blood? But he is reckless, seems to think himself apart from ordinary laws, to have a contempt for danger. We must try to hold him on a tighter leash.
You are Mr. Edward Hyde, I believe.
Who the hell are you? Mr. Seek?
I'm a friend of Dr. Jekyll. May I come inside with you?
Pass off. Jekyll's no one.
I have heard of you from my cousin, Richard Enfield.
Oh, that young fella that wanders for his closes at night, huh? Must run in the family. He or she sneaking up in folks' back doors at 2 in the morning.
As I say, Richard told me of his ordeal with you, and I, in turn, questioned Dr. Jekyll.
He tell you nothing?
He told me very little.
Well, I should hope no. Your privates are supposed to be safe with a medical man. Is it not the same in your trade, Utterson?
You know who I am, then? I would like to ask you a few questions.
Oh, you're an awful man for the questions. Tell me where they're in my cell. You start with one wee query and away it goes, like a stain down a hill, setting off the others. Chunky sizers, boulders. And before you know where you are, some gormless old bastard stunning where he shouldn't be at 2 in the morning gets whapped in the head with a half brick. Then it all comes out and the family has to flit away and change their names.
You know I'm a lawyer. You must realize, then, I have friends in all branches of the law.
Hello, you mean the police?
Yes.
Right. Not about with the rough boys, do you? Well, maybe this'll be one of your pals coming now. No, here he's black and long-laced law-abiding bits come clumping up the street.
Hyde, I'm now convinced you're insane. And if I can, I'll save Jekyll from your...
Whatever it is.
Who's there? Good night.
Well, you're not well ready, are you? You didn't even shake my hand, no very neighbourly.
Hey, who's in there?
Good question.
Come here, you. Into the light.
No bother. Honest to oblige the law. But I should warn you, I'm well apart for the ordinary variety.
And what have you been on the night, wee fella?
Here. Shake my hand. Let's feel the grip the law has got.
Dr. Jekyll!
Oh, God. Oh, God. God, help me.
Doctor!
Someone help me. I'll help you. What have I done? You? No. No, not me. But I tasted it. You perhaps connived at it. Tasted the light.
Dr. Jekyll! Are you there?
Oh, damnable. But I'll help you all the same.
Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll, I saw him!
And you shall help yourself. With the cunning and quickness of Hyde, the charm and authority of Jekyll. Now, open the door.
Dr. Jekyll?
Open it, and the way shall be shown to you.
Dr. Jekyll. Oh. Lizzie says she... are you all right, sir?
Yes. No more noise, please.
It's Lizzie, sir.
So I heard.
She says she saw a man outside.
It was Mr. Hyde, sir. I saw him.
Lizzie,
I saw him do it.
Calm down, Lizzie.
There's blood on your clothes, sir.
Fool, take her to the library, give her some brandy. I'll be there in a moment.
Very good, sir.
Well done. Admirable, the way you compose yourself.
But there's no doubt, sir. It was Hyde. He had the policeman in the green and he just kept hitting and kicking.
May I go out now and see?
Not yet.
Are you sure the man's no living yet?
I'm sure he's dead.
He has to be.
Listen, you may well be right, Lizzie.
I am, sir. Honest. I couldn't sleep. I was up for a pee and I just looked out before I went back to bed.
Listen to the doctor, lassie.
Sorry, sir.
It's all right. You've had a terrible fright. And so have I.
You, sir?
And a terrible lesson. Pull. 3 more brandies, please.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm a good master, am I not?
Aye, sir.
Poole?
I didn't imagine an answer was needed. But I still think I should go out and see...
Then you will trust me in this hellish business and do as I suggest, as I ask. The man Hyde, who, as you know, has had the freedom to come and go in this house for some time, is no friend of mine.
I hardly thought so.
Been a burden, a human leech, if human's the word. Do you understand?
Well, it's a bit vague on the details, sir, but I take it you mean he has some hod on ye?
Yes.
That vicious wee twister. Oh, I find that hard to credit.
Poole doesn't.
And you'll put down that glass and credit what your maester tells you.
And now I promise you that hold is broken.
I'm glad to hear that. But if you'll forgive me, sir, I can't rest here drinking brandy with that poor soul lying out there. So, how about this? I go out now and discover him because Lizzie here's heard a stramash outside. I then inform you there's a corpse at our door and you instruct me to fetch the police.
Aye.
Would that be the course to take?
It would, Poole. God bless you.
All away then.
Oh, and Poole, Edward Hyde will never be seen again.
And what promises that? The authority of Jekyll? Or the cunning of Edward Hyde?
I wanted you to see this, Utterson.
I've seen it before.
I know. And I've seen it and heard and smelled it countless times. In this ward there are women with monstrous cancers, with tuberculosis, pneumonias, silicosis, factory women, slum women. They cough up their blood by the mugful. Some of them, if they started mill work early enough, have developed such pelvic distortion they can give birth only in agony.
Jekyll, I know these horrors, and I know you fought against them all your life, as I have, though less directly, less effectively.
One effect of my work here has been to implant in me a profound disgust of humanity.
Inhumanity that allows such conditions.
No, not that. Not social anger, not medical outrage. Disgust of our very flesh, our very being. I mean despair, Utterson.
I've seen little sign of despair in you.
And it is a sin, despair.
I don't think I have the breath in here to discuss morbid theology. Maybe go outside.
Imagine your most shameful sin. Now, I know your past is fairly blameless. Let's say the worst sin you came near to committing. Now multiply that iniquity by the number of women I've taken the knife to in here.
Jekyll,
and
please.
You may glimpse the despair I've suffered. And in that morbid state, to use your word, I met Edward Hyde. Yes. We'll go outside for some air and walk in the garden.
Oh, I long for this winter to be over. Feel the touch of spring again. The way sometimes one longs to see and touch one's fellow creatures.
Uncommonly lyrical thoughts from you.
Which brings us back to the subject of Mr. Hyde. He gives one the distinct impression of not being one's fellow creature.
Longings and impressions. Not your language at all.
Something about him. Troglodytic, shall we say?
That's more your style. You've met him, then?
For God's sake, Jekyll, the man seems hardly human. And I met him outside your laboratory door on the night the policeman was murdered there. The unfortunate fellow was already on the scene when I left.
You mustn't blame yourself.
What?
Have you been to the police?
Why should I blame myself? I had no idea the wretch would commit murder after I'd gone. And if I haven't yet been to the police, it's because we must face the possibility of your good name being sucked down in the eddy of a scandal.
Thank you.
I did speak to Poole.
I know, he told me. Trusty old Poole. So, you're convinced Hyde is the killer?
Isn't he?
I'm in two minds about that. But I did send anonymously a generous donation to the police charity fund and another direct to the widow.
Good God.
Utterson, put your mind at ease. Go to the police. Give them your description. Tell them the name he used if you must admit a conversation with him. He might simply have been asking why he was skulking in an alleyway. Need you say more? I can assure you a scandal is highly unlikely.
Why?
Because the matter will never come to trial. Hyde is safe. He is quite safe.
Safe?
Yes, why? I mean, he'll never be set eyes on again. It's all over, I swear it. And the fight you spoke about against sickness, injustice, We must renew that, find our strength there, and in friendship, of course. A dinner party, soon.
A dinner party?
How is Lanyon?
Oh, failing, I'm afraid. His heart, you know.
Yes.
But he faces his condition with his usual cheerful courage.
Jovial cynicism. Utterson, all this is acceptable.
Yes.
And you'll give me your hand on that?
Of course.